few buttons there. Tap, 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 tap. Hey guys, welcome to Wednesday. Holy smokes. We have a budget here at James True Live. It's like any budget. You got energy coming in, you got energy going out. And you do what you can do to survive, right? And so my budget is based on the amount of money it requires for me to do this show. And so what I do is I divide the number of how much revenue we can collect from the show, and then do the math and figure out, well, how many shows does that pay for? And when YouTube started cutting, first they were demonetizing, right? And then they just started cutting us off altogether. It really hurt our ability. And we only survived because of the patrons. Then we became a patron-only show, believe it or not. Maybe bring in like $200 now. YouTube is maybe paying us that much. So right now it's a little bit higher, but all summer that's pretty much been what it is. And if you look at what I'm capable of doing for a living, what I do for a living, that rate equated to not. Actually, that barely covers a show. And we actually have more than one person working on this show now. Just 4 or 5. There's a lot of people working on the show. And sometimes people come and go, but there's also this core. Sarah's in that core. Melanie's in that core. Catherine's in that core. Jessica's been in that core. Nancy's been in that core. Hopefully Jessica will come back. But the point is that it's certainly my show. I take responsibility for it, especially when I say stupid shit. But the show is run by this tribe. And so Monday I'd suggested that, man, if we had more patrons, we could do more shows. And boom, we got some more patrons. And so we're doing a show today. I told Melanie, I was like, look, I'd rather just go ahead and do the show Wednesday because I really want to thank those patrons. And so, yeah, that's what we're doing. And if you want to see more of this show, we used to be able to go daily. That was back when YouTube was actually paying us. It also was when other truthers weren't like physically warning their audience that they would burn in hell if they watched me. I just want to point out that we actually had to go through that trough too, that stick of mud also. That here we are, and not only are we here, but man, the flux that came in was it just made my heart grow 3 times that day, and I thank you for that. So here we are. Welcome to today's show. This is episode 267, right? Yeah, 267. Forefathers vaccine injury. I want to make sure that you guys can hear me because I just realized my phone is not in front of me, Melanie. Whoops. I don't have my phone. Let's see. Nice to be a core. Be nice to be in a core. You are at a. That's right, Andrew. Right? Hey, James, you're at 16.3. I know, Hugh. We made another milestone. We're at 16.3. And yeah, feel free to use your genitals inside the shopping cart on JTrue if you want to get one of your books. Some of you haven't gotten your books yet, and you're worried and you're writing me, and I appreciate that. And it's breaking Melanie's heart because she's actually the one that was mailing those books. And I need you to know, thanks, Noam. I need you to know that not only have those books been mailed, but they were actually mailed faster than I ever would have mailed them last year. Like last year, I was lucky to get to the post office twice a week because it's a good trek to the post office. If you get an order, Melanie's probably like dropping what she's doing and taking it to the mailbox right away. Here's what's happening. When you bought the 5 books for $88, I swear that's a pretty amazing deal. That is being sent to you what's called media mail. Media mail typically, seriously, most of the time during the year, media mail is like 2 days, 3 days. When you do it media mail at Christmas, you really see the power of media mail because that 2-3 day thing drops dramatically. I feel horrible because when I was pushing the 5 books for $88, it was not directly in my mind on air to say, hey guys, I need you to understand, here's how shipping works. And I'm really sorry about that, but please, really sorry about that. In fact, if any of you feel cheated, I know one of you was leaving on a trip today and you wanted to read this book, and I wanted you to read it too. I want your toes in that sand. I want that sun on your face, and I want you reading Blueprints of Mind Control. All those things. And so I will definitely give refunds to anyone who feels slighted by that. My goal was not to take away your prana. My goal was to add to your prana. But just know you can write to me. I'm just forwarding those to Melanie. She's writing you back and telling you what she can about the status of those things. But I do feel very confident that those books will get there, absolutely. But I think that you're looking at a holiday delay. If you don't want that holiday delay, I feel very confident telling you this, by the way, because I've seen this work. If you go to JTrue right now and you enter your genitals into the checkout coupon code, that you can pick your shipping, and that shipping, media mail is one of those options, but that there's all kinds of other options, first class mail, whatnot, and that will get to you right away. That the reason why media mail is backlogged is because all the first class mails go in front of the media mail. So I'm sure there's a fascinating tour of the post office. I'd like to thank you for coming to the post office today to watch how we work. And we'd like all of us here at the post office just want to say thanks for buying stamps, because without you, well, we wouldn't be able to hold these books off while we wait for other things to come through. So yeah, anyway. So that's the update on the post office. I hope I can remember these things whenever I push books again, but that's the blanket rule. If you're ordering and it says that media mail thing, that's what's going to happen. And the only way that I could have shipped those to you from PayPal is as one solid rate. But yes, in fact, Catherine is the one who got our website to do all the special shipping rates. And so that was actually kind of hard because they keep updating shit and calling it advancement. That we've made things better, James, which is why your podcast was broken for 3 weeks, because the plugin that has the nerve to call itself the Seriously Simple Podcast plugin decided to make things better and create a security flaw that breaks all your podcasts. And anyway, it's this is what it's like owning a website. That's right, penis or vagina, Mario. I've been sent the second annual official Prometheus Advent calendar this year, and you've missed a lot of candy, but even more importantly, you've missed some really great, here is Shove This in Your Whore Mouth, Babylon. Great little image there. Here is, what else we got here? All these are my favorite, but here's Trolls on the Beach. This is available in a Farrah Fawcett mount poster that you can get into your room right now with the disco. This is not actually available poster, but if you ask Beevemaster, sometimes known as Married Moth, but in my heart will always be Sarah. If you ask her, she might be able to hook you up with that. And then we have. I just cracked my ass up because when we were in jail for so long, she made this one, and to have that put on the Advent calendar, today's theme, the Clutching of Pearls by Prometheus, is just, come on, how great is that? How great is that? I've eaten all the candy. Last year I mailed you guys candy. I've not done that this year. Of course, for me to mail you candy, I would have to mail it to Melanie. And I am already going to burn in hell because David Traina, I never sent him candy. I remember that he won a piece of candy last year. And whenever David Traina shows up in dojo, I'm like, fuck, I'm going to burn in hell because I haven't sent that guy candy. And then I'm like, after dojo, I'm going to mail that guy a piece of candy and all this will be forgiven. And I'm just staying up on that cross. I'm just like, no, it'll be okay. It'll be okay. It's like, but we've come to save you. And it's like, I know, but God will send a sign. God will come and save me. And you're like, But God told me in my dream last night that one of your buds is hooked up to the cross down there. You need to go pull him off. I'm like, I know, but God will come. He will come again. And this is what we do. We like to have these torture sessions. In fact, Suzette's giving me one right now. Ugh, she just stabbed me. Ugh, she goes, I haven't gotten my book yet, says Suzette Ann. And it's just, yeah. God, I'm bleeding so much. Oh, I'm bleeding so much. I just mentioned that, says David Trainer. So see, even David knows. Even David, yes, you're right, Tease. I did it on purpose. This is what we do. We play these games. And by me, in fact, telling you, oh, look how noble I am, I'm torturing myself. Really what I'm doing, Tease, is I'm not sending David candy. Like at the root of all this, all I'm doing is justifying to you, wow, David, you will never get that candy from me. Never. Never. That I will go to eternity through the generational karmic cycle of things, and that after we've cleansed all of like the deep sin, the sin we can't talk about, the things that we've all done through epigenetically done or us or our ancestors, after we clean all that at the very, very end, it'll just be you and me. And I'll have to look at you and I'll have to be like, I'm sorry, David. And the hard part is, David, you're going to have to forgive me. And here I am right now telling you that this entire speech is not inspiring me to send you candy. No, it's inspiring me to not send you candy. And that is a sickness. That is a deep, deep sickness in me. And even me admitting it is just kind of like petting it like a strange reptile that I'm pretending is a dog right now, right? So yeah. Hope all is well, David. Now we're giving, okay, thanks a lot, no more money bear. Now we're giving David all the sympathy. Bless you, David. So anyway, I'm under the impression that you've probably already been contacted by Melanie, Suzette Ann. I'm under the impression that's probably, I ordered your books last week, I haven't received it yet. So anyway, that's what's going on. We should probably get started on the show. How much time has I even put into this? Do we even have to do a show on vaccines today? I want you to know that that I'm under the impression, and it's the irony here is that I'll get shut off right after saying this. I'm under the impression that the program is drawing to an end, and I feel that the lifting of sanctions has been released, and I believe that speech with Fauci and Zuki Dog, he's not even worthy of being called a Zuki Dog, and Zuckerberg, those two, you take a zucchini and you split it and you grill that, you fold it open and you grill that. That's a Zook Dog. It's amazing. Sauerkraut. Don't forget sauerkraut. That speech, some of you guys hopefully saw that speech. Actually, I hope that some of you didn't. That speech was basically Fauci was just explaining that, yeah, it's, good chance that the vaccine could actually cause this or cause that. Could actually hurt you in this way or that way. He actually said that. And of course, that's the Cutter incident. If you guys don't know what the Cutter incident is, 200,000 people were given polio when they took that 200,000 people. And I'm under the impression that, of course, I've been saying since the beginning that any humane society would feel justified wandering around the neighborhood, gathering feral cats, taking those cats back to a building that had nothing to do with the feral cat, and putting that feral cat under and chopping its balls off, and then letting that feral cat go, and then they would pat themselves on the back and say, look how humane we are, that program would function with any beast. And that's why right now, if you were to find a raccoon in your yard and you were to call the authorities, the people that you're supposed to trust, that most of the states by law, those guys are ordered to kill that thing. So when you're calling the police to help an animal, you don't know what help means. And this isn't even necessarily the act itself. You're not going to really be able to find much leverage by by saying, well, it's on that animal control officer. I believe you and I'm with you, but I need you to know that the evacuation of all of us by wanting, we want government to take care of it is why we end up slaughtering so many things. It's because when you give away your sovereignty, your responsibility even, to that other agency, you don't actually get to morally judge them. You don't. It's true. Because you see, you actually threw that responsibility away first. We come from a culture where we were putting babies in the dumpster. And certainly we could say that now with Planned Parenthood, of course. But I need you to know that Planned Parenthood did not invent throwing babies away. Planned Parenthood invented how to monetize the throwing of babies away. That if you look back in Rome, if you look back in most of the society, in fact, massively difficult interview Monday with Alex from Skeptico. I don't even know if he's going to play that interview. But I was trying to convey to him that to look at the black experience in America without taking the zoom lens and cutting to a wider shot, and looking that at the same time while Frederick Douglass was trying desperately to even wrap his head around the idea that he was being free, that little Lucy, who had no last name, had a wanted poster for her placed in the local ads, offering a 3-cent reward because she ran away because she was being beaten. And that Lucy was a white girl living in the exact same world in the exact same way, but because we as a society need a feral animal control, we do the most humane things we can, which is we establish barbed wire to keep the feral cats at bay. And this barbed wire in a human mind is going to look like psychology. It's going to look like shame. It's going to look like shitting on your ego. It's going to look like convincing you that exercising your immunity, your immune system, is selfish. I remind you all that discernment itself is your immune system working. That when you're like, oh, that doesn't sound right, that's your immune response. It's an immune response, and it's happening all the time. All the time. Suzette, I didn't mean to stab you. It's just for the information. I like you as long as I give it. Suzette, I think because you like me, you're able to say, James, I have so much respect for you that I need to know where my damn books are. I think that you asking for those books is you empowering me with the power to actually deliver the books that you paid for. So just so you know, I appreciate that. I was kidding about that. But it's an important part, right? That you and I have trust with each other, which allows you to say such things. It was never a gamble, right? You weren't like, I'm going to send James money and then maybe sometime in the future, and who knows when, I maybe might get some books. Gee, that sounds like a really good deal. You didn't do that. You're like, hey, look, I bought books. Why would I not want to get them? I think you're exercising your immune system right now, Suzette, and I love your immune system. It is looking good today. You haven't been contacted. Well, Suzette, you just typed this, so give Melanie a little bit of time. She's also running the show right now. So this immunity being transmitted through let me real quick. It looks like everything's. I'm under the impression that parade float, the COVID parade float, has passed. When I say past, it doesn't mean you're not going to still see remnants of that. You're not at all. We're in Omicron right now. The 19th letter of the alphabet is Sigma. And so I believe that the Sigma variant will close this eugenics program down. It will end at that point. And you can even see how Omicron's kind of farting along anyway. It's having trouble selling itself. And the entire time, the Omicron is part of, I believe there's certain cues. If you're playing part in this World Economic Forum drill, the COVID-19 drill, then you would know that when the new variant is signaled, that it is time to unroll your own personal Omicron program as it fits with there. And this would be the only way to really outline the orchestra being so effective at playing notes, that you're looking at a million trumpet bearers playing a song, revealing the revelation, forcing those who were afraid of the sound to move into a certain place and be absolved. I really mean absolved in like the pure word. It's funny that we're like, if you walk in that guillotine, you stick your head in that hole, you will be absolved of all your sin. And the guy's like, really? He's like, yeah, man, totally works. You will not feel any pain for any of the sin that you've ever committed after you stick your head in that guillotine hole. And you're just like, my God, that sounds like such a great deal. Well, how long does it last? He's like, forever, dude. Forever. You were completely absolved forever. And I'm here to tell you that if you spent most of your life, like this morning when someone's like, the ego is the shitty evil part of you, and we're all universal love, so you have to reject the evil shitty parts that are all over your ego, and then we'll be universal love. Like that kind of thing. That those people already have no immune system, and so when they're offered a opportunity to trespass through the portal and enter into a realm of absolution, of infinite absolution, that there are people literally willing to take that bet. That over time, we would have this sort of coronal apoturic adjustment happening. And that as the grand solar minimum comes and goes, what you're really looking at is the application of reality, like a saturation, that reality itself is light, the atum, right? This was a principle in Egypt, that the reality itself was a consciousness of light, a sending of information, and that you receive the bandwidth of light by the epiphany that it secretes. And as we evolve through the world, as your flower grows taller in this greenhouse, there are different elevations where it's able to find a different kind of nitrogen in the air, a different kind of fuel. And that these elevations are hermetically injected into this greenhouse in these levels purely because someone understands that that's how it makes the sunflower grow. That as these levels are permeated and passed, that there has to be something uncomfortable. What's below you would need to become uncomfortable, and what's above you would need to become something that you seek. And that levity equation transmitted through time would make you grow, that it would make your spine grow, and that's how all greenhouses work, and that's how your consciousness works. Now, if you do not know that you are living in this greenhouse, if you do not know that these uncomfortable feelings below you and these things that you yearn for above you, if you did not know that that was constructively put there to help you grow, you might decide that the system itself is broken. You might decide that this whole place is out to get me. You might decide that this entire system has been a farce and that it is run by evil beings that are simply wanting to make me uncomfortable. And if you had that belief long enough, you would instill it into your kids, and those kids would instill it into their great-grandchildren, and those great-grandchildren were your parents. They were your parents. And just as there's a grand solar minimum of reality inside your DNA passing from grandchild to grandparent, it actually skips. It's a weave, right? It's a weave that your own personal minimum, the sun in you, the ego in you, will go through generations where it's dormant and generations where it's up. And that you get to take this baton and carry it as far as you want to go and hand it off to the next generation. This journey is hard. The first marathon killed the man that ran it. Philodippians or Philodippies or something. They grow. And that solar minimum of yourself, if it catches one of your generations in a downtrend, right at the same time that great ancestor of yours was also overcoming other things, that you would see things like war pop up. There would have to be some sort of mass reflection of the aperture consciousness changing. There would have to be some sort of environmental wave that's just broadcasting what's happening psychically inside everyone's mind collectively. And that the Spanish flu, World War I, World War II, COVID-19 could all be orchestrated solar minimum ceremonies. And when you take this idea for the very first time, I want you to take it all the way back to Montezuma. I want you to look at this idea all the way back when 80,000 people were showing up for a festival and having their heart ripped out. And that bells were played singing "Bring Out Your Dead," and that wasn't a joke. And that Pied Pipers were sent into villages purely for the notion of reminding these souls that the ferryman is here. And that the Pied Piper plays his whistle to bring those who are subjugated by the sound. And the Pied Piper takes those children down to the river where the ferryman is and carries them across Styx into this absolution, into this world where you do not have to be here in this greenhouse. And I believe very strongly that your acceptance, your understanding of what's happening to you, is a multiplier of your ability to withstand it. That if you understood that this minimum below you and this maximum above you, that this levity equation that you feel trapped in is the actual perfect training for your spine, and that what's hard about it is that you don't know this entire time you've been in a karate class. That this entire time you've been in this building, but you didn't know that you and your mother decided that you were going to be dropped off here. That you look forward to it. And you're like, "Yeah, Mom, I'm going to go take karate." And she's like, "Are you sure? This looks dangerous." And you're like, "Mom, you got to start trusting me, man. I know what I'm doing. You need to fucking take me there and let me go." And she's like, "Okay, but I'm just really worried." She's like, "Yeah, well, you're a mom. You're supposed to worry, right?" So you're brought in this world. And you meet Sensei. And Sensei knocks you on your ass. And because you don't have that amnesia, because that amnesia is so good, you love that sweet amnesia, you forgot why you're here. Now, if you don't know why you're here, that sensei is going to look like a bad guy. You might even call it the spawn of Satan. You might even say, "Well, you must have betrayed my very mother, Satan. That she trusted you more than anyone else, because while she's out playing bridge, I'm here with you, and you were torturing me, and just wait till God sees what you did to me." And that if you had that mindset, you would find victimhood delicious. Delicious. You would form a posse with other karate people in that dojo, and you guys would hide in the bathroom, and you would tell Sensei, "Yeah, I gotta poop, man." And you'd hang out in that stall. And you'd sit there because you wouldn't want to play. You kidding? That guy's fucking nuts. And he hates me. And he hates everyone. And my mom hates me because she dropped me off here. And she had bad trust issues because she trusted her most high sensei. And look at what sensei did. And you'd have a thriving culture where anyone who came into the bathroom from a break, you'd say, "Hey man, you need to drop that ego because it's fucking killing you. It's just making you evil and destructive. What you need to do is come in here with us. Now look, this stall's tight, but if you fit around the back of the toilet seat there, you're going to be fine, man. Now look, the only thing that happens is when someone comes in, we have to be quiet. And sometimes they pick the stall, and they're going to be pulling their pants down, and we're going to have to actually be there. And then when they try to flush the toilet, sometimes you're going to have to flush the toilet for them because you don't want them to look and see you. If they run out of toilet paper, you're going to have to give them toilet paper. But fuck the ego, man. You got to let go of that stuff. And James, you don't need to be sitting there thinking that you can have your own morality and decide, hey, what's going on here? And you're sitting there trying to tell us that the sensei himself is like some trained dude that your mom trusts. What kind of fucked up shit is that, man? We need to unsubscribe from that guy, because that guy's going to burn in hell. If you listen to him, he's a Luciferian burning shit in the woods. Blah, 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 blah. It's 5 a.m. and I'm having thoughts about things that are homosexual while I milk my goats. All of those things come out because you don't have the context of exactly how this world might work. And do I know how this works? Fuck no. But I've done the math. And the idea that there's some retard God that's just sitting there going, hey, I want to make them suffer. Or even worse, yeah, I'm the omniscient and omnipotent God, and I have bad judgment. Yeah, I just, I picked my biggest angel, the one I trusted the most, and I picked wrong. And oh God, sorry, oh me, he would say, and oh me, I'm trying to get Satan, but he's just too slippery for me. And even though I'm omniscient, and even though I'm omnipotent, and even though I'm all love, I just keep fucking up. That's the fucking loco idea. Holy shit. And they call that Christianity now, and that was never Christianity. You know what that is? That's what's that dude that played Moses in that movie? That's Charlton Heston Christianity, right? That's Dante Christianity. That's this mythology. It's hilarious because that would be so much more satanic. To treat God that way as being such a bumbling idiot would have to be this word we called satanic. And this idea that the only way you could be accepted by this place is to abandon yourself. It's the most fucked up, retarded thing I've ever heard, and there are people that are thriving on that. They've built Cheerio stands, and they're spreading that around. It's amazing. If you can find that different aperture to see things, if you start to look from that bathroom stall, and many of you have already emerged from that, well done. I don't think you'd be able to watch me. You notice that the people that can't handle watching me are typically people that go right back into that stall. They go right back in. They're just right back in. And it's safe there. It's cold. It's dark. No one comes in unless they're going to drop shit off. So no one's expecting anything big out of you. In fact, when people see you hiding, they start to just understand that's your prana economy and they leave you alone. And that's exactly what you want, because you've rendered the world is this torturous place where God's a fucking idiot and he has bad judgment and all of his staff is corrupt and his entire world broke a long time ago, so there's fucking lies everywhere. And you've created this notion where, well, yeah, but then he tried to save us, but he could only fit a little tiny piece of seed into Mary 2,000 years ago. It was the only way it would happen. And what are you going to do, And how dare you suggest that I, James, could be the second coming of Christ? That's sacrilege, you say. But you could be the second coming of Christ. Not only could you be the second coming of Christ, but you're denying the very gifts that God asked of you to bring. That the wise man following the morning star... It's literally the story. 3 wise men followed the morning star and were led to the Christ. And you want to tell me that the nativity is, in fact, the dangerous story of Lucifer? The only way you could think that's true is if you were brought up by parents who spent their entire life licking toilet seats, telling each other how noble they were, hiding the entire time from the very sensei that's trying to teach you how to defend yourself, how to discern, how to grow, how to have honor, how to have pride, but you're hiding in the fucking bathroom, promising anyone else that comes in, hey, if you sit here and lick this toilet seat after someone shits on it, you'll receive eternal salvation. I get why those people can't watch me. I don't do a live stream from the bathroom, do I? I was writing that before Jane said Lucifer. James so good at following on that. Yes. Painting videos. When you get there, the very first thing that happens when you get there is your heart fills with energy because you're not constantly looking for the bad man. You're not constantly looking for the evil thought, right? You're not like, well, someone here has to be evil and doesn't want to be me because I can't afford that. So we're going to have to pick someone. So who around us is like the most capable of all of us calling him evil and scapegoating? And that's what happens chronically. That's what happens. And we need that because that's been the crutch we've used to cleanse our own soul. That when you're pointing at something else saying, you're a narcissist, or you're a fucked up this, or that person's an evil guy, or there's the Masonic shield, blah, 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 that what you're really doing is saying, look how much better I am. Look how much better I am. Look how much better I am. And that's truly the objective world, this hypothetical objective world of truths requires that you evacuate your own belief and give it to that source. And say, yeah, guys, I'm going to give this to the collective. Whatever you guys as a group decide is right. I'm giving that belief to you. So I'm going to turn around and say, yes, I believe in objective truth too. And that guy doesn't have objective truth, but I do. You enter into these contests. And your contest is which of us can secure our place behind the toilet seat the most. That's what that thinking gives you. But when you can unwrap what sensei is, adversary, and when you trust God, if you trust God, why the fuck are you claiming that he makes mistakes? If you trust God, why are you saying that not only does he make mistakes, but he makes mistakes that only you can fucking see? And that you build an entire religion off the mistake of God. Why? Because you're mad because mom will not rush into the karate studio, run into the bathroom, and save your ass. And do you know why mom won't do that? Because mom loves you. And mom loves you so much, it's tearing her up to watch you like some bitch licking the toilet seat. But it would tear her up even more to ruin the only opportunity you will ever have here to find ISIS, to separate yourself from that victimhood and resurrect and get your ass back out of the bathroom and back on the mat with sensei. For God to ruin that for you would be for God to lose love for you and instead have love for God's feelings instead. That the guilt that God might feel for not giving David Traina that piece of candy would override, and that God would finally step in and said, David, I owe you this piece of candy. Oh, piece of candy. You have to see how deep, how much more love it takes to not come into the bathroom and say, John Jacob Jinglemacher, get your ass from behind that toilet. You get out there right now. I paid for these karate lessons. You're going to take them right now. You're the one that said this. You said you didn't want to do this. You didn't want to do this. You didn't want to comb your hair. That the amount of trust, faith, and love that God has in you is self-evident right there. Just seeing it right the fuck there. Teeming, dripping in the honey of all that is true. And the moment that you can psychologically get around that is the moment that your posture improves. And that's why I keep telling people I'm a psychic chiropractor. Because I look at the psychology and I watch the venting that occurs. And when I see the psychology that has the most venting, I automatically say that would be the exact opposite of what God would want you to do. That you are running around farting out all your excess energy. And I don't care that you're shedding energy. I care that you don't realize how valuable it is. That's all. And that we're convinced that the evil people are the ones that come and collect our energy after we shed it. That they're the evil ones. And actually, they're the ones that said that baby you just threw away in the dumpster means more to me than you. And here we are judging them for selling those parts. And hey, judge away. But I need you to look at who cared for that baby even less than Planned Parenthood. Now, we can castigate that mother and burn her in hell and make ourselves feel better as we crawl behind the toilet. Sure, that sounds like a Protestant thing to fucking do. Let's burn some books. Or we can say, what is the psychology of that flower to make her abandon her own stamina? How would that psychology improve? And would that psychology be able to improve enough to where she sees the value more than Planned Parenthood does? Who is the sinner here? And you're like, well, it's all of them. It's everyone. Or some of you are like, no, it's just Planned Parenthood because you don't want to have victims. This lady got so mad at me the other day on Twitter when she was like insisting that Michael Jackson has to be a victim. And I'm like, why do you think that victims don't turn into perpetrators? That thinking that victims can never be perpetrators is you extending innocence in a usury way. And that when you're doing that, which is what we've all done, we end up building a jungle gym for perpetrators because we golden child them every step of the way. We do this with race, creed, religion, vaccination status. That all these vortexes that we bankrupt each other on are only because we're hanging out behind that toilet. Because we're convinced that the karate teacher is evil and that our mom has let this grave injustice happen to us. And that if she was to see how much of a pussy that we are, that she would stop this right now. And your mom is watching. And she's like, yeah, but you're not a pussy. And this is really killing me, but I'm not going in. I'm not. I trust Sensei. I think God trusts Satan more than you. That has to be like, oh my God. Oh my God. Where are the pearls? I've got to clutch the pearls right now. He just said that he trusts Satan more than me. Oh my God. But that's what the Bible says. It's his most trusted angel. The one he trusted the most was the one that he put in charge of your learning. Amazing, right? But no, you've got it all figured out. God's an evil guy, and James, he's evil too, because he's secretly working for the Masons. Look at him. Look at that Mason face. Look at him drinking that Mason coffee with his owl. He's got an owl on his mug. I bet you there's blood in there. I bet you he's drinking baby blood right now. If we get James, we can hang out in this toilet and it'll be more comfortable again. Because what James does is he opens the door and he's like, hey, you fucking pussies, get your ass out on the mat. I want to fucking rumble. And you hate shit like me. You know why? Because I am motherfucking senpai. Do you know how I'm senpai? Do you know what made me senpai? Sensei? That I had enough calories, that I've learned this dojo enough to where I'm like, hey, Sensei, do you mind if I go in the bathroom and get those pussies out of there? And Sensei's like, dude, if you could do it, I might give you a stripe on your belt. And I'm like, okay. Because I trust in God. I trust in vitriol. I trust in the greenhouse. I trust in the program. I trust the fucking plan. Isn't that ironic as fuck? Isn't that ironic as fuck? That this entire time, if you've been watching my career, you've heard James literally destroy anyone that's suggesting that you trust the plan, that you do this, that you trust this person, or you go along with this, or you vote harder, or you do this. And you want to know why I don't have to trust the QAnon fucking plan? It's because I trust God. I fucking trust what the fuck is happening here. I trust it so much that I decided to look through my own pain and say, how the fuck could this be constructive? Could this be constructive? Is it fucking possible to have this much pain be constructive? I asked myself. And it took years, but all of a sudden I got this answer, and the answer is yes. Because the amount of arrogance it would take for me to call God a bad judge of character, with flawed everything, lacks the ability to even run a fucking place, that kind of shit would only come if I did not trust God. And that if I did not trust God, the I am, the ego, all of that, that's my antenna to God. My antenna to God is my ego. And that we live in a world where we're shitting on that antenna because no one wants you to hear God, because there's so many motherfuckers hiding behind that toilet seat. They're hiding behind there. And you are helping. You're helping make that expensive. And I thank you for it, because I could not do this alone. I used to run in the bathroom alone, and they would take my head and stick it in the toilet and flush. And it happened so many times that there were times when I would join them and hide behind that toilet too. Because every time I tried to say something logical about the energy that was happening, people were like, "That's stupid, you're an idiot." And then I would believe them. Why? Because I was learning from senpai too. I was learning from my other senpai how to stand taller. That every time I got taller, I learned two things. A, I can see farther, and B, people are making me pay for it. How? Why does this math work this way, I asked myself. Why am I be rewarded with pain when I can see farther? And I already went through that shit where I was like, well, maybe it's because I don't see farther. Maybe all this is an illusion. And most of the people that have known me since a child have been telling me that. Well, James lives in illusion. Why does he do that? Because he's so intelligent. I swear to God, that's what people said. It's because he's so intelligent, he lives in this dream world. And I knew the entire time that no one was going to give me this belt of sight. That I either had to claim what I see as real, or I had to keep pretending like everyone else that the problem was my eyes. And that if we could just pull our eyes out, or if we could pull this filter on, or if we could eliminate this color, or if we could have these horizontal bands that come across it with a thin blue line in the middle, or whatever the fuck ritual it is, we try and hide ourselves from what's happening here. I couldn't pull it off. I decided it was better to be out on the mat. And the next time I felt pain, I didn't victimize myself from it. I had a different posture to it. And that posture is everything. It is everything. You are a living cross, stretched upon the axis of morality and mortality. And that you are here in the mind and in the body to find your intersection. And it's not behind a toilet seat. It's not. The reason why seeing things is expensive is because you have a full transaction. You're making a full transaction with the world B. That's why it's expensive. It's like X-Men Cyclops dude, right? Except for the opposite. It's the opposite. It's not all these death x-rays that are coming out of his eyes and pushing into the world. No. The world itself, his aperture is so wide the fuck open that every single thing that he can see is coming to him like a massive, massive tractor beam. He has no choice, right? He has no choice. Not only do they need to be exposed, Althea, but when you expose them, you are actually voting for them. That when you kick open the stall door and you're like, "Get the fuck out, rats. Get the fuck outside. Get back out there." That is you believing in them. As you believing in them. And that part of you reaching senpai is learning this. And part of you going to that level is realizing, I'm going to help this dojo too. I'm going to help this dojo. And you start to look around, you just start to notice what would make people help. And at first you think, well, before your senpai, you would think, well, the way that we would help is that no one is allowed to get hurt and no one's allowed to slap each other. And so you're wandering around and people are trying to practice their kicks and you're like, no, you need to abandon your kick and have universal love. And then you have these notions like universal love, which is a marketing term for apathy. Universal love is a marketing term for apathy. And you only get these terms, you only get this backward-ass transient definitions of the world, of this objective reality that no one ever sees, but everyone seems to have an idea about exactly what it looks like, that none of it ever actually fits with your subjective experience, but oh well, that all those things are traits of the toilet. Those are philosophies from behind the toilet. And that those philosophies are even true, they're even real, because that's what Aperture teaches you. That if you're going to stay in there, if you can only afford to live inside the bathroom of the dojo, hiding behind the toilet, that you're going to still exercise morality, you're going to still exercise autonomy, that even inside there you were learning karate just on a very, very minute level. Because now you're fighting with hyena. You're sparring with hyena. And as you spar with those hyena, you notice, well, these people play dirty. And what does that do? It adds to your whole fantasy you've got. That God fucked up, he's an idiot, and that Satan's this evil overlord, and he has more power than God, and this whole place is broken and full of lies, and pawns come and all the other shit. Because you're sparring with hyena. And those fuckers fight dirty. They're wet willies, Indian burns, all that shit. It's a different world in the bathroom, isn't it? Isn't it? Someone just flushed the toilet. And we can't even talk right now because we're waiting for the toilet to finish flushing. That's what it's like in here. What does that smell? Right? And you start to recognize people by the smell. And you're like, oh, that's Carl. You know. Carl, the Cleveland Steamer. You know, you've got names for it all because you've learned to live here. You've learned to live here so much that it becomes comfortable. And you created your own prawn economy here behind the toilet, which means you don't have to go. You don't have to go out the bathroom. It doesn't have to happen. Aren't we supposed to be talking about vaccines? Shit. Let me just say this. John Adams and George Washington were vaccine injuries. I'm at least gonna tell you that. They're vaccine injuries. And you hear the story of, well, George Washington had wooden teeth. But did you ever consider why? You ever said, but Dad, why did he have wooden teeth? Why? And the reason was because of vaccines. Dude verilated himself. So did John Adams. I'm looking for it right now. Here it is. This is a quote from John Adams. In the winter of 1764, the smallpox prevailing in Boston, I went with my brother into town and was inoculated under the direction of Dr. Nathaniel Perkins and Dr. Joseph Warren. This distemper was very terrible even by inoculation at that time. My physicians dreaded it and prepared me by a milk diet and a course of mercurial preparations till they reduced me very low before they performed the operation. They continued to feed me with milk and mercury through the whole course of it, and salivated me to such a degree that every tooth in my head became so loose that I believe I could have pulled them all out with my thumb and finger. By such means they conquered the smallpox, says Adams, which I had very lightly and then rendered me incapable of speaking or eating in my old age. In short, they brought me into the same situation with my friend Washington, who attributed his misfortune to the cracking of walnuts in his youth. Now, John Adams is saying that this saved me from that. And even in his old age, even though it's destroyed his diet and his ability to eat, even though it's rendered him incapable, that he was saved by that medicine. And one of the hardest things to understand when you've just left the bathroom, not when you just left, when you're finally back out on the mat and you're back into lessons again, it becomes hard to remember what the psychology was like in the bathroom. That when we make decisions, the cost of finding out our decision was wrong is many times too expensive because we're living from behind a toilet. When you're living from behind a toilet, most of your defense is going to be, it wasn't me. Most of your defense on the mat is going to be denialism or shifty blame. Only out with sensei do you actually get to own your own mistakes. Only out on the mat are you tall enough, because everyone's watching you, that you're willing to own your mistake on the mat. It's very different posture altogether. The cool kids called you nerds. That energetically you're at the front of the class because you want to grow. You want your skills to grow. And that being at the front of the class has its own cost. And the cost is going to be the people that live behind the toilet are going to snicker and make fun of you. And when you understand how painful that psychology is, you start to see how expensive it can be for someone to even admit that something's happened, that they've done something wrong, that they were looking at something in the wrong way. And I think that most of all sciences have that right now. That we've learned the wrong way, but because it's so embarrassing, because we put so many children at danger, because we killed so many people, that there's no looking back now. And variolation is that. The Cutter incident was that. 200,000 people were given polio by a vaccine. And we can certainly keep calling those things accidents. Could certainly do that. Or we could start to look at this grand solar minimum idea, this corona idea, and start to realize that these wars, these sicknesses, are opportunities to leave the dojo. That you really need to understand how many people are crammed in the bathroom behind that toilet, and how many of them are too crammed in there to even start to see things like this. It's part of why we, meaning everyone here in the tribe, has worked so hard since this broke. Because we know there are students in the bathroom that would do so much better if they would come out here. And I'd be lying to say that not a few students, but more than a few, have written me later. They don't even necessarily follow me. They'll go off on their own. They'll go to their own other dojo. They'll do whatever they want. But they write me and they say thank you for that. And that, that makes me really proud to be senpai. And I think there's more of me. And I think there's plenty. I think that there's room for all of us to be senpai. I don't even think it's a sacred position. And I'm happy to say I've seen a few senpai come out of our circle too. Sometimes they'll go out and do their own thing, and I freaking love it. It's probably the biggest compliment I can get. And I don't think they're complimenting me. I think they're complimenting themselves. But I'm going to grab energy just like the people behind the toilet would, you know. I'm going to grab stuff and say, yeah, I had something to do with that. And I'm going to use that to my advantage too. I want to get taller, you know. I want to have better posture. I want mom to say, yeah, you know, I didn't think you were going to be able to do karate, and you said that you really wanted to, and well, you did it. That's what I want. I don't want to go home and hear my mom outside talking to Satan on the phone's like, yeah, he's not going to be able to come back to karate. And Satan's like, but I kept giving him all these chances. And God's like, look, I know, he's just a fucking pussy. And Satan's like, well, God, I just feel like I really let you down. And God's like, look, I got 7 billion children. It's okay, you know. And Satan's like, well, just so you're clear, I'm the one that's telling people you have 7 billion trillion. It's not quite that many. And God's like, oh, I know. Sometimes I forget. You're funny, Satan. He's like, oh, no, you made me funny. That's your sense of humor, God. You're kind of a sick bastard, if you ask me. And God's like, well, that's your job. What an interesting conversation, right? If you look at it this way, if you look at adversary, if you look at the entire duty that God gave Satan, Satan would have to love you just as much, if not even, maybe not more than God, but fuck, Satan would have to love the fuck out of you, because here you are, you're hiding in his bathroom. You actually think that he can't even see you, right? And he doesn't want to see you because he doesn't want to spook you out too much, because you're already thinking he's like horns and Wokalar and oh, you masturbated, Satan's going to come get you because you touched yourself and all the other shit. So Satan's already having to pretend like he doesn't know you're in the bathroom. Satan's done everything he can. He already has to be the one that has to push you down sometimes. And he has to get you to teach your balance. And you're just such a fucking wuss about it. That if you look at the kind of compassion that Satan would have to have for you as a student, it's astonishing. It's astonishing. It's astonishing because every time you check out and you've decided, fuck this place, or you die, or you move on to whatever else, the first thing you're doing, the entire time you're doing, is blaming Satan for it. That he is the universal scapegoat used to anyone. Hey, if you can't handle the karate, because of how intensive this training is, if you can't handle the karate, we're giving you all a free card. It's completely superficial, but some people really like it. It's called Get Out of the Dojo free card, and it's death. And you can escape this place. And all you have to do is just keep complaining. If you complain enough, someone will finally say, hey, psst, someone will open the bathroom door. Right? And it's got like those little wires in it and stuff. And but he opens it. He's like, hey, you guys want to get out of here? And it's a perfect opportunity for people to do it. I really think that's what COVID is. I really do. And some of us, I know I'm talking about you, so I won't say your name, but some of us, we have these contracts with others, with our children, with our family. And they are so much more important to us than the karate lesson. And so I think some of us have been in the bathroom the whole time simply because they really wanted to try and help the people that were hiding there. And that even that checking out would be a tricky spot if you were already a senpai, if you knew that your children were terrified in the bathroom. That you might choose to check out now too. That you might choose to ride the COVID ferry too. If you look at that spread, the tarot spread, you know that death card was full of coins. That at the base of that death card, there were all these coins in the ground. This just hit me. If it sounds like, oh, I figured this out and I was getting ready to dish it out, no. And if it's not profound, forgive me for thinking that's profound, but sometimes I surprise myself. Those were coins paid to the ferryman. That death card. God, I wish we could pull this up right now. The Economist tarot spread. Look up that. Someone is going to put a link. I swear they'll do it. It's kind of tricky to find, but there's the cover of my book, Best Apocalypse Ever, has it on there. That death card has all those coins in the ground. There's dead fish and there's coins. And behind it, what do you see? You see the corona. That we're paying the ferryman to get out of here. And the only reason why we're paying to get out of here is because we decided, our great-great-great-great-grandparents decided this was not a dojo. This was not a greenhouse. This was a twisted, haunted, broken house that God forgot. And that's the excuse you're going to need to exit the building. And I want you to exit if you're not ready to be here. But I also want you to realize that when you shut off, something's going to come unattached from you. Some kind of like psychic visor that kept you in this temporal space is going to lift. And at first you're going to be like, holy fuck, I forgot all about this place. Here I was, and I forgot all about it inside here. And the second thing you're going to feel is absolute embarrassment. Like the deepest kind of embarrassment you could possibly feel. Why? Because you know that God was watching you the whole time while you were here. And you told yourself, well, God's just watching me in church. The only time God looks at me is when the collection plate comes around, and that's why I have $7. Why is it 7? Because it's more than one bill, and it's more than 2 bills. And all I have in my wallet was a 5 and 2 ones. I do have a 50, but I'm not going to go the 50, but no one has to see that I have the 50, so I'm just going to pull out the 5 and the 2s, and I'm going to fold it 3 times, and I'm going to wait until the collection plate comes, but then the very last minute I'm going to put it in. Like, it almost looked like I wasn't going to do it, and then I'm going to put it in, because that entire exchange that I just did is going to make me feel generous as fuck, because I'm under the impression that only then, just then, and only right then was God watching. And that embarrassment that you're going to have to feel as you start to understand that that's not how it worked at all is going to be so much more painful than the hardest kick from Sensei in the face. In fact, it will be so much more painful that you will be asking, can I please go back? Please let me go back. I cannot believe I just fucked that up so much. I'm going to go back and I'm going to help others. Holy shit, I'm so embarrassed. It's going to be that. It's going to be that. And I have that too. There's so many things I'm embarrassed about. David Traina's candy is like fucking peanuts. It actually has no peanuts in it, David. If you're allergic, don't worry. Not that you'll get that candy. God, I'm going to hell. But those things are part of what drives the epiphany engine after you die. That the only batteries that we could pull out to render all these equations finally into our salt would have to be generated by the deepest field we have, which would be core shame. It would have to be. It'd have to be. I'm telling you guys, it has to work this way. It has to. So much for part 2 of vaccines. We'll see if we can get on this. I hope you still enjoyed the show, though. I do. Sometimes, not sometimes. Okay, I do this all the time. But I hope maybe it was somewhat entertaining. Let me see. Don't forget to like. Yeah, I agree, Catherine. Don't forget to like. And look at that, Sark. You can support James on Patreon. Hey, guys, check out our Telegram offerings. Sark is senpai in one or many of those. If you want to hang out with the tribe and get to know people, you should definitely check out that Telegram stuff. If you're on Patreon, thank you very much for bringing this show to other people. I really thank you for helping us bring this show to other people. And I hope you enjoyed it. There's a mail. C'était magnifique, James. Thank you. I even took French, too. I told you guys that story about the German family, right? Where I was like, it tastes like shit. Anyway, we'll say that another time. Thanks, Mandy, for being here. Thank you so much. Thank you for your witness. Kristen, good to see you. Thank you for all the support you've given over the years. And, yeah. Hey, guys, Friday. David's even thanking me. Oh, you're just fucking poking me with that burner, David. God, look at that. David Train is thanking me in public. It's like, well, James, I just want to really reach out and say thank you so much for everything you've done. Oh, my God, you're so cruel. I love it. Thank you, David. Seriously. Guys, we're having a gathering this Friday. The lovely Melanie Bass and Catherine Hopkins are joining me. There will be others, too. But if you are a patron, if you're in the tribe, we invite you to an open mic session we're having this Friday. It is not going to be a dojo because dojos are private to dojo members, but this will be more for patrons. And there's a good chance that we'll be putting that on this channel or on Dojo World channel. I just don't know which channel yet. But we think that this might be something we might start up that could be fun. So we're going to try it out this Friday. So if you're interested in that, you need to make sure that you're signed up for Patreon so you'll get that invite link to the Zoom. This is an opportunity for topics that I would never think of bringing up could be brought up. And for a chance to expand and have some fun on Friday around the fire. So this is like a Friday happy hour, campfire hour, campfire tapes, gathering around the mic, soiree, posse, senpai, meetup, dojo after, in fact, if you can help us come up with a name, please don't say James will burn in hell for not giving David candy. But if you want to help us come up with a name, we could use that. And so you could do that. We will still have the regular show on Friday at the same time. But what happens is if you're part of dojo, typically on Fridays we have a dojo. Melanie is the producer for our dojos. But typically on Fridays we have a dojo. So it'll be Friday show 11, then dojo. And then a couple hours after the dojo, we'll be doing this show. So if you missed me on Friday, you can come to that later show. And if you caught the show, you could still come because you'll get to hear Catherine, Melanie, and anyone else in the tribe who will hopefully be bringing something up to us. We have a lot going on in the world. I think we probably need another crypto dojo. I think Melanie's working on that now too. There's just a lot that's happening. Any of my German friends out there, you definitely need to check out Mephisto. He's got the German translations happening with his own blend, and it's fucking beautiful. I eavesdrop in on him all the time. It's great stuff. I recommend that. Yeah, Friday's show is at 6 p.m. Thank you, Mel. Sorry. Thank you for that. It is at 6 p.m. Eastern. That's when it is. That's Gatua time. If you don't know what Eastern time is, it's Gatua time. All right. We will sign off now. David Trina, thank you for your sacrifice today. And we'll see you guys Friday. I'm looking forward to it. And yeah, let me know how disappointed you are that we didn't talk about vaccines. It's okay. Let me know. We'll definitely make it up. By the way, if you're a member patron, you could download the entire PowerPoint presentation on Monday, and you would have already known that about John Adams and George Washington. So there you go. Thank you, Sark. You fucking rock, dude. I pictured you a lot in my head as I was describing how that dojo would work. So yeah. All right, guys. Peace out, and thanks for the pearl clutching. Sarah, thank you so much for my Advent calendar. Look, she's even got a Hitler one here. Mind Prometheus. It's you know, I told you, if you imagine the hanging out behind the toilet, creating an entire motif and defense mechanism on victimhood. Entire countries have been founded on this stuff. This entire push to how dirty your carbon footprints are, founded on that same thing. Scarcity economics. Remember that. All right, guys. Love you much. Hey, there's Amaret. Haven't seen you in a while. I know you've been around. I just haven't seen you in a while. Thank you, Amaret. And yeah, you guys take care. It means my peanut. Oh my God. It means my peanut. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. This means mine peanut. Mine fat. That's hilarious. That's hilarious. Man, I hope I didn't get you in trouble, Mephisto, for even showing that. There's all kinds of weird shit going on in this world, isn't there? All right, guys. Thank you much. Take care. I swear it's over now. Yeah, join us on Patreon. If you enter vagina or penis, you can get those books shipped to you right away. Just make sure you choose a first class or whatever. It'll get there. If you want to buy books, right now is a great time. I could use the money to buy some chocolate to send to David. So, and you know what? Even if you bought a book right now, I don't think I would probably. God, I need to really mail him a piece of chocolate. It would be so easy. And then I could gloat over the fact I did that, and it would chronically charge me the rest of my life. In fact, every time I saw David, I would feel better about myself. But it's just so hard to mail. It's so hard to mail something. I've been wanting to mail this to Melanie forever. I just, what is it with mailing? It's just, why is it so? See, this is the product economy we do. We do this stuff. All right. I swear it's over now.